Live from the Century 21 Showtime studio in LaSalle, Ontario. You're listening to the Nick and Joe Show, where we talk about the people, places, and faces of our community. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nick and Joe Show. My name is Nick Monteleone, your host for the day, and I got my dad, Joe, right next to me. I'll let him introduce himself in just a moment, but this day in history, in 1967, we had the first human heart transplant performed in South Africa by Dr. Christian Barnard on Louis Washkansky. Pretty interesting stuff. And today, our sponsor for the day, Frank Ciroli, lawyer and partner at Shibley Wrighton LLP. Give Frank a call for all your real estate needs. Dad, go ahead and introduce our amazing guest for the day. We got a crazy, awesome show today, so I'm excited for this one.
Awesome is absolutely, and every listener is going to come in and really say, hey, we've raised the bar now ever since we had Sue last week. We're raising the bar one more time. Sue Taylor, welcome back from St. Clair College. And Sue, we have a great guest, also a person that you know. But I just want to say that, a little story that growing up, it was always kudos talking about what we're going to talk about today. Where today, it's the norm. And I'm going to introduce my guest so I can carry on this great discussion. But our special guest today is Anthony Cervini. He is one of the youngest operators of a marijuana, or as they call it today,
a retail cannabis store.
Retail cannabis store.
Yes.
See, in the old guys, we still call it marijuana, but it's a retail cannabis store.
Yeah.
And Anthony, welcome, because Anthony opened up in Essex called Tony's Joint. What great! I love the name.
Yeah. That's why I got confused as to what you're doing there.
Exactly. In my era, Tony's Joint was okay. We found a new bar, and then I read on to it. I said, oh.
Yeah, at first I kind of thought, like, when I started listening to myself say it over and over again, I kind of thought it was like a Mexican restaurant at first. I was like, Tony's Joint. I was like, But it started growing on me, and we went with it.
Well, welcome, Anthony, and the listeners are going to listen in here, and I hope sales go through the roof.
Awesome.
Of course, like everyone else, we got stocks and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, welcome again.
Thank you.
Because our show is about people, places, and faces, and you have all the check marks here that we're looking for in our podcast. Awesome. And all that. Let's start. How and why did this all start at such a young age?
So it all started from my father, really. He got into the cannabis retail space as an LP, which is a licensed producer. He He was one of the co-founders and started Afria, as everybody knows today, as one of the leading global medical cannabis companies in Canada. So it was around high school that he told us, I was like grade 11, I want to say. He told us that he was going to start growing pot. And I was like, this is crazy.
My dad is gonna get into pot.
Yeah. I couldn't believe he sat us all down. He goes, we want to talk to you about something. We thought something went terribly wrong, and my dad was like, I'm gonna start growing marijuana, and we were like, what?
You had to be the coolest kid in school.
It was the weirdest thing, to be honest. Because I just, it was illegal for so long, and then my dad's like, bro.
Yeah, how much backlash, for years and years for parents to say, don't smoke marijuana.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Now it's like, well, it's good for you. It's medicinal, and it's interesting. I just want to quickly pause, Dad. I think you actually forgot to introduce our co-host, Sue Taylor. Oh, did you?
I did.
I don't know if he did. Did he? Did he introduce us?
He did. He said he's just used to me being here all the time.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. Okay. Well, he gave me the edibles before we started this, and now I can't even concentrate. Everybody's just slow motion.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, this is great. No, yes. so definitely, it's definitely a something that was looked, was frowned upon for how long, forever, and now all of a sudden, are Are you still seeing some backlash? Are you still seeing some people not welcoming this into society?
A little bit. It's very few though. Everybody's kind of really
opened up
to it, and the stigma's going away about it, which is awesome because I get 19-year-olds to the oldest people coming in the store. So it's really nice to see that like everybody's trying to come out and try it.
Yeah.
And see what it can help them with or what it does for them.
So there's a mix. There's a medical component to it, and then more of a hobby associated with it, right? So more of a recreational use.
Yeah.
2 different strains, 2 different, different growing processes. Quite a bit of a...
Yeah, a little bit. All the LPs have their own little touch on how they grow their product and how they dry it and how they really put it all together. So there's a little bit of that, but from our side of it, we are strictly recreational. So all of it's recreational stuff. So sometimes it's really hard because we can't give advice on medical stuff to people that come in asking for like pain and back hurts and all that kind of stuff.
So you probably know the answers to it,
Yeah, like we know it could probably help, but we can't actually give them that advice because like it affects everybody differently, and sometimes it doesn't help people.
Yeah.
Certain people, right? But to other people, it does. So we just try to help them and guide them the best way we can. That's how we go about it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, a lot of capital, I'm sure, had to go into this. Was it a tough startup, or was it?
Yes, it is a tough startup. I'm very thankful for it because my father was able to help me start off with some of it, which is not the easiest if you were to go through a bank about it.
Yeah.
So it's nice on that side of it, but yeah, it could be a little struggling to open up a store. I think the way that the government set it up, anybody could really open up a store if they really, really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have it look like Tony's Joint. You can have it like a little shack and open up and order as much stuff as you possibly can and start selling it. Like, I think anybody could actually really, if they wanted to, try to go through the application and get through it. And I think you could do it for a decent price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys online? I know, people can... a lot of people don't really know how to go about it, right? So I know some people just go online to the Ontario website and order their stuff online. Do you guys have an online component?
Yes.
Or
So it's tonysjoint.com. You can go on and see everything we have in inventory, and it's live with our inventory.
Oh, nice.
So as people come in throughout the day and start buying stuff off the shelf, it'll come off the website as well.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sue.
Yeah.
You must have 1,000 questions. I see your eyes just sitting there and thinking, and remember, Sue, you and I, it's not about recreational, it's about medical. I know, medical. I can see right now your thought process, so go ahead.
Well, so we had kind of talked before about that, you were saying how in our day it was illegal. So for us, like, honestly, people our age, I want to say my age, our age, to Google marijuana or cannabis, it's like we feel like the government is watching us, that we're being red flagged, because we have in our mind that it's always been illegal. Yeah. So it's great to see that now it's something that you can just go in and purchase and walk in a store and buy it now. Yeah. So you and I had some conversations before you opened about targeting a market for women my age, which specifically have been renowned and known as cougars, that you need to have a cannabis for cougars class.
Yeah, to teach cougars about it.
To teach us about it, because again, we come from an era where again it's been illegal, but also we're the ones that need it for pain. We're the ones that women my age, when you're dealing with younger customers, they don't have the funds necessarily, but we're established, we have the money to pay for it, we're in pain, we need it. There's a recreational component that they're looking at. So we talked about, Tony's going to offer cannabis for cougars classes.
Yes.
And we're going to come in, he's going to teach us what are the different strains, what's the difference between CBD and THC, Anyway, and go through that and do like almost like a Tupperware party.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I love this.
Wow, how boring is a Tupperware party? But yet a marijuana party, I can just only imagine. You better have a shit
I
ton of
love this.
Doritos.
Oh, yeah.
Sue, you got something going there.
Telling ya.
Can we franchise that?
I think he already did. It's already his.
Oh,
this is his deal. He's
There
going
we
with
go.
this. But
I
they get
love
little
it.
loot
I love
bags
the
when they
story.
leave. Like, it's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So that's
Now, when you talk about recreational cannabis,
Yes.
of course, I'm going to tell you a story now because I was going to wait until the second part of this show.
Okay.
But my only experience I ever had cannabis, and again, I didn't grow up, even though we grew up in the marijuana free world back then. I'm not that old, but I'm not what's that big concert that they had years ago?
Woodstock.
No,
Woodstock.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
post Woodstock, but
Okay.
so I go to a wedding,
Yes.
nice wedding, suit and tie and all that, and of course a bunch of friends says, "Come on, we're going out to smoke a joint." And I says, "Guys, I don't. Oh, come on, smoke a joint." And so I smoke. I says, "I don't feel anything." So I start walking back to the club, and all of a sudden,
Hits you like a rock.
it hit me, and I was like, "Whoa," and someone was coming up to me, and I had to stick out my hand to shake his hand, and it was like in slow motion. Oh, I wish I'm going to hit his hand. I was on the dance floor and was slow dancing with my wife, and my legs were going like I was dancing rock and roll. And she says, "What's wrong?" "I can't feel my legs."
Yeah.
So I got so scared at that point. I says, "That's it. And today it's recreational."
Yeah.
I said, so when they say recreational, there's a lot of products out there.
Yes.
Why not just stick to a joint? What is it? Is it explain?
When you look at all the people that want to try cannabis, not everybody likes smoking it.
Okay.
So we have vapes as well as like flower. So vapes are a little bit better on your lungs. They don't have as much plant material. They're a little bit cleaner. They actually vaporize the oil. So that's a little bit better. But then we also have like beverages, edibles, capsules, oil, for all the people that really don't like smoking it, so you can ingest it instead. And especially for like the cougars and everything, we have topicals that you can rub on your skin that help with all
And a
that
higher
stuff.
dose of it.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to be like a Cougar's Tupperware party, they stick around for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
I knew
Nothing wrong with
Sue
that.
probably won't leave.
That's okay. That's okay.
She won't share the gummies.
No problem. No problem.
We're using the topicals like Purell instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's crazy. So do you see kind of a bigger influence into society? Do you see this growing? Because I don't get together with the guys, and I mean obviously it's group dependent, it's friends dependent, but we don't get together and have a marijuana party, but we'll have a scotch and cigar party, right?
Yeah.
So do you see that taking more of a role in the future? I'm sure it's going to be a slow process, but do you see it kind of growing and growing? Like, has your sales been increasing, and have you
Yes.
noticed the trend? Yeah.
Yes. I would definitely say there would probably be a smoking party. More smoking parties are gonna show up,
Yeah.
especially over the next couple of years. Yeah, they call it like a sesh.
Yeah.
Like you go for a sesh with all your buddies, right? So like,
bring me back to high school right now.
yeah,
This is funny.
yeah, a little bit, right? Like they still use it. They still use that word in that way.
I
Yeah.
will not do it again. I might have a gummy, but I'm not.
So like that's the thing. Like gummy affects you a lot different than smoking it,
Okay.
right? So like when you take a gummy, the THC actually turns into a different chemical in your stomach, which is a little bit stronger than actually smoking it. So that's why like our doses are, all of our edibles and beverages are 10 milligrams max, and the government set it that way, so that like it's safe for like people to take. Because if you take too many gummies, you will normally you just get really high and like
Or sick. Or
you kind of get sick for like 10 minutes and then like you're fine.
See, and that's speaking of sick, you don't have that hangover. That's the one good thing about I guess marijuana, right? Because you don't have that hangover necessarily. Yeah. Although I know some people say that they have a headache the next day or whatever.
Normally you're just a little bit tired.
Yeah.
A little bit tired the next day.
And from the cougar's perspective, there's no calories.
Yeah, right.
So,
I like that.
So you can replace that skinny girl wine.
Exactly.
Hey,
or I don't have to have my Ryan diet.
Yeah.
I can have something else.
So we'll talk about categories now. In a sense, male, female.
Mm-hmm.
Do females usually like a certain kind of category or brand than males? And then age groups. Are people in our era buying it more today, using the cannabis other than smoking it, or differentiate between the younger generation, our generation product? Is there, or people just all over the place?
At the moment, it's all over the place because it's so new.
They're trying everything.
Everybody's kind of bouncing around. I would say older age is always trying to do like oils, capsules, or like the topicals. A lot of females, most females I would say, are scared to smoke it, and normally they buy edibles. So mostly it's a male, the smoking side of it's a very male side of smoking.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
that's just like kind of like just seeing how it is on the floor. Like I could probably actually figure out numbers one day. It's a little soon for that because I've only been open for like a month and a half. So it'll be cool to see that in a couple of years and actually look back at the data and see like the patterns of like what everybody's actually really buying and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like there's got to be a lineup. You know how the LCBO are all lined up outside? I feel like this is going to be like, if we go out there, that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's going to be exactly like an LCBO or a beer store.
So Anthony,
Pretty much
why
the same
is even though it's legal now, why is it taking so long for all these cannabis shops to open up? You know, in the end, a lot of people have invested into stocks.
Yes.
In the cannabis, and you know, I believe in that. The stock market in the cannabis world is going to come back eventually when there's enough distributors out there of the product. But it seems to be that it is a government control that they're just not letting go these places to open up fast enough.
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to look at it. I think the government's actually doing I want to say a pretty good job at it because it's allowing the LPs to slowly build up to that demand. Because if they hold back the stores opening up, it like doesn't put as much product out. Because right when a store opens up, it tends to get pretty busy pretty quick. And the stores tend to order a lot more from the OCS. So like I think they're just trying to slowly open it up so that like everybody can feel the growth a little bit better than just like opening it all up and go, right? So because I think we do have the like all the LPs have the capability of like opening a lot more stores. I think there's a lot more product sitting there ready to go than like we think. But especially with all the COVID stuff that's coming, it has like really slowed it down, which was nice because like they slowed it down a little bit too much. It was down to 5 stores. They were opening up a week, which took forever to like even get your inspections and everything to open up. So then they moved it to 10, and I to be honest, I don't even know what it is at now, but we're hoping that more stores can get open.
It's interesting. Guys, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break here. We'll be back in just a few.
So what do you think so far? Do you love us? Want to hug us? Want to send us some money? Yeah, I didn't think so. You're listening to the Nick and Joe Show, and with some guy named Chuck. If you're listening to the show on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Tunein, you can watch and see our beautiful mugs on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website, c21showtime.ca. We hope you're having fun. We know we are. This is the Nick and Joe Show.
All right, everybody, we are back today. What a fabulous show. I'm sure we got listeners from all over the world today because this topic is amazing. Again, we have our co-host, Sue Taylor, here. Sue, welcome back.
Why, thank you.
You know, and pleasure always to have you. And, of course, Anthony Cervini from Tony's Joint, a cannabis retail store in the town of Essex. Search them online, the products and the knowledge this gentleman has. It's for recreational use and other uses, but Tony's Joint in Essex. Welcome, Anthony, again. And Sue, first question, you can go ahead and lead the second half.
Okay, we were just talking at the break a little bit, but we wanted to know about what kind of research you did beforehand before you opened this up.
Now, be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, be honest.
So a lot of research this past summer on all the different strains, which made it really easy to order what I wanted for
And
the
a great
store.
summer too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I tried everything. Well, like every single strain that I thought was good. Anyways, and then we did some research.
How did you remember?
Yeah. You had to
Remembering?
restart over.
Yeah. Well, like, if you focus enough and pay attention, you can get through it.
He hired an assistant to take notes.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, friends being around all the time.
There you go.
What do you think? No, but then we got on the topic a little bit about they call it crossfading, which is like the perfect balance between alcohol and cannabis. And if you drink before you smoke, normally you can get into a rough section at the end of the night and you're going for a ride.
So everyone who ever heard the story before in the first half when I was telling my story, now there's a reason to my logic of what happened.
Yes.
Okay, I went to a wedding, I started drinking scotch, and then I got into the one and only joint in my life and got wasted. So there you go. There's the science behind it.
Yes.
But go ahead.
So like normally when you smoke, you can smoke before drinking. It kind of like mellows everything out and you can drink. So like what I figured out in the summer was you could, if you were drinking beer and you were smoking only joints, and if you kind of knew your limit on both, you could do both throughout like a whole afternoon and get like the perfect level all afternoon. And it's just amazing. But you like think you're tough or you think you're cool and you go like push the bar a little bit, like you'll never end up.
That's when the wheels fall off the bus.
Yes. Yeah, the wheels fall off and you just gotta take it.
So it's kind of like we were saying earlier, the is it liquor before beer in the clear, beer after liquor, never sicker. So you have to do that so that
same kind of idea.
Basically, yeah.
Now, is there a big difference in strains? Like I know you mentioned again on break, we were talking about different strains and what are the two?
So we have like you have your sativa, indica, and then hybrids. So hybrids is a mix between sativa and indicas.
Is it truly a big difference? Is it really like?
It depends. Yeah, some strains it's a little bit more indica dominant. Sometimes it's a little bit more sativa dominant. When you look at it, we always say indica in the couch or in the bed because it makes you tired, makes you want to go to sleep. Kind of.
So no indica at night for me.
No, you want indica at night.
Yeah.
Oh, at night.
Because it makes you go to sleep.
You don't want it for dancing though.
Yeah.
You don't want indica for dancing.
No, and then you want the sativa
but at my
for
age,
dancing.
I don't want to sleep.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. You want some sativa then?
What's it called?
Sativa.
Let me write that
sativa.
down.
And it's not stevia.
Yeah.
Be really smart.
Okay, I got that tip.
Yeah, don't worry.
So the sativa is more of the
it's more the social
party type
cannabis.
Cougar type.
Cougar type.
Cougar type.
Because we like to party.
Yeah,
So
you
we're known
party,
for-
go
That's
out.
what we do.
Yeah, a little sativa.
Now I know like there's different names associated with them, like whatever Tiger Sativa, and you know. Oh, that's your phone.
No, I don't have my phone with me.
Oh, what's this one here?
Oh, that one there.
But I know there's different kinds of different names associated with them. Is it like what's the difference with all that?
Normally it's like the terpenes. So like every strain has different terpenes and stuff, and normally terpenes will give out like the taste, the smell, the look of the flower, and like it's really cool because if you look at some of the strains we have like Blue Dream. When you smell it, you have like a hint of blueberry. You can kind of taste it, and then like there's some strains like we have orange cookies where like it just tastes like an orange, like right off the bat. So like it's super cool seeing the different strains because like most of the names have a meaning behind it, or it's a cross between two different strains, which make one name. Which is super cool. So like that's one of the things that really stands out about the different names and the different strains is like the taste and smell and flavor. I never thought about it, but it's just like tobacco pretty much when you look at it. Like you look at different cigars, right? Like you have different colors of the leaves for your cigars, right? You have different color in flower, and the way the different what's it called? So you have thin leaves and thick leaves, and then you have dark leaves and light leaves, right? So like
a cigar.
Just like a cigar, right? So like it's all a little bit different, and
it's all personal preference.
And it's
really.
all personal preference, right? So like you look at indica, normally it's tighter, really tight, dense nugs, and you kind of look at sativa, normally it's a little bit fluffier and not as dense, right? So like there's a lot of different characteristics to the weed, and especially with like the strains and the way the plants are grown, which is super cool because like if you go to a Fria, like you could see all the different strains in the greenhouse growing, and you could see how they were all different and what makes them all different. And when you walk by, you can smell all the different terpenes as you walk by plants and stuff.
That's interesting that you say that. So, I mean, for more of the, I guess obviously they're growing for a variety of different reasons, some medical, some recreational.
Yeah.
Is there, for the medical component, is there like a certain style, certain leaf that they prefer? Because I know it's mostly CBD related for medical,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
so how does that kind of turn over into the medical side?
They normally find strains that have the doses that they want and are easier to grow, I would say. I don't really know what they're really, really looking for, but I'm assuming it'd probably be closer to that, yeah. Balance.
I think that the names too, like having, you talk about the characteristics, but I think having a cool name will sell it too.
Yes.
Like people come in and they want a cool named product that it's like us with nail polish for the Cougars. Lincoln Park after dark, we all know that that's a certain color. It's like speaks to us. So it's the same thing with
it
strains.
really is. Like people come in and be like, oh, I know, I've heard that one before.
Yeah, that's a marketing.
Yeah,
thing
that sounds
for them
cool.
too.
All branded marketing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Now, can you explain for people, because this is a question I get too a lot, is what the difference between the THC and the CBD? So because there's a misconception that if I use cannabis, I'm going to be high. And so a lot of, Cougars don't want to take things because they're afraid that I have to function, I can't do. No. So maybe if you can explain the difference between the two, and then also to like how they're processed and uses.
Okay, so your brain will pull and attach to THC. THC gives you the psychedelic effect, so it gives you a head high, which means you'll feel it in your face, feel it in your eyes, get tired, kind of get like in your own little world in your head, which is cool sometimes. Not always, if you don't know how to get out.
Probably amongst the younger kids.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, so like THC is really like makes you goofy, laugh, kind of slow. But if you really use it, like I know a lot of people that use it for focusing and like doing their work and all that type of stuff. So like kind of more on the side of like what Adderall would do, right? Like
a lot of
focus
really
you
cool
in.
songs were written and
With like THC, right?
Yeah.
So like that side of it is more like the head high, and that's more like what the OPP and everybody are worried about for
It's
like
what Sue
driving.
takes when she goes to a concert.
Yeah.
Do not. Joe, jeez. My kids might listen to this.
We just want you to listen to the music.
Yeah, the music. Yeah, exactly. Because like food's better when you're high. Music's better when you're high. Everything's a little bit intensified. Yeah. But to your point, like CBD is more, I would say it's more of a body high, and you don't get the head high or with like the feeling in your face or eyes. So you really don't feel high when you take CBD unless you take a higher amount of it, and then like you kind of get like a weird body buzz, which is a little bit different.
And so you can do a combination of the two.
You can do a combination of two. Like we call it like balances at the store, which is like you have like a 5-to-5 ratio, which is like a little bit of both. So like you kind of get the body high with like the help of pain and like relaxing yourself, and then you get like the head high, which kind of gives you the fun side of it. Okay. Yeah, people come in and talk about it all the time. Like CBD's like there's no fun to it. I'm like, I don't know, like you take enough of it, it's a pretty different feeling compared to THC.
So what would be considered a lot then? Like if you looked at that. So just an average person who wants to have a good night and
try CBD.
Just try it, or a combination too, because that's These are the tough questions.
These are the tough. This is like the tough. Like,
it's hard because you've been experimenting all summer.
Or different people have different levels.
Levels, right? So like when people ask me that question, I'll be like, well, like how often do you smoke?
Yeah. Is it like alcohol dependent on weight too? Like if you
a little bit.
Your percentage, okay.
A little bit, yeah. Normally big, like you're bigger and have more mass, like your body can normally take more. Handle more, right? If you're a little bit smaller, normally not.
So I could take the bigger cubes of the cupcakes.
Yeah. Edibles is a little bit of a different story. Like smoking, I would say it's a little bit
bigger piece of the pie.
Like that, but like edibles, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Anthony, question: yes. Can your product be purchased online?
Yes.
Okay, so saying that, can it be purchased from the U.S.?
No.
Okay.
We are strictly in Canada, and we are not even allowed to take, well, I'm not allowed to take, anyways, not allowed to take any American currency.
Right, but I'm just saying from the consumer now, because, and why I'm saying that is, as you know, they say marijuana is going to be opened up in the U.S. because of the Biden, Democrats. They are for marijuana, and they're going to make every state legalize marijuana and so forth. And does that scare the manufacturers or the retailers that the Canadians may look forward to the American products instead of the Canadian products, or is it the Canadian government will cut that?
I don't really have a good answer for it. My own opinion, I think maybe a little bit, be a little scared, because the states kind of do it a different way, and it depends on how the government's really gonna do it with like the individual states. But over here we're very regulated.
Good.
So like from a safety standpoint, Canadian cannabis will always be safer because it's very, very strict on how it goes from LP to the retail store to a consumer in hand. Like I've seen it all. I've seen the whole process and even how it gets to a retail store, and it is extremely safe. From American side of it, I could see that there could be maybe pockets where it wouldn't be as regulated, but it depends on what the government really does. at the moment it's a little in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
See, I like the idea of being able to walk into a store for something like that. Again, because not knowing, I'd rather have actual assistance as opposed to ordering something online, not knowing what I'm getting. I know the quality because I've talked to you. I know there's like a personal connection to that. So again, speaking for the Cougars, that's kind of, how we are. And then the other thing too is that having us that come in, we're going to tell our friends about it too. And as opposed to, finding it online, because I know people that do order online. And I'm like, well, what if you don't like it, or if there's something wrong with it, or it's not quality? It's like, are you sending that back the same way you sent back the running shoes you bought too?
Yeah.
So it is
like,
nice.
I have a lot of people come in, especially with edibles. Like, people aren't too happy. Like, the real stoners aren't too happy walking in seeing 10 milligrams on edibles. And they'll come in and be like, well, like, I got a 500 milligram gummy or chocolate bar on there. And I was like, okay, it might be that. You might have just got high off of it and it was 30 milligrams. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, you buy this, it is a legit 10 milligrams. Like, they test all of it. There's no way it'd be in my store if it wasn't tested properly. So, like, I try to, like, teach people that, because, like, people love just getting stuff off the internet and trying it, and I think it's not really the safest way of going about it. But
So do they have like inspectors that come in and check the stores to make sure that everything is?
Yeah, everything's done properly. Yeah.
Yeah, like LCBO, the same thing.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do
same
too.
thing.
So,
yeah. We do it with the AGCO, which is like the tobacco, alcohol, and cannabis, and lottery.
So it's comforting as a consumer to know that the product is tested and watching. You're not getting something, because that's another scare that's going on too, right? People are doing. And
I guess that's why we like what's happening here in Canada.
Yeah.
Instead of becoming the wild, wild west, right? So that's great. But everyone, I want to say thank you, Anthony, for sharing your story. We loved it when we read it. Sue, again, thank you for coming back as our co-host this time.
Absolutely.
The good thing about our shows here, I like where it's going right now, because we went from whiskey to students to cannabis. All we're missing is a rock and roll. So that's your job to bring a rock. Okay, so we'll get all four corners. We'll hit a home run. But everyone, thank you. And again, this show was definitely Showtime.
Yeah.
Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the Nick and Joe Show. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at joe@c21showtime.ca.